up? It is your boy from under the influence to being an influencer. Antwan Henry is back with another one. I had to holler at you guys today because my sobriety anniversary is coming up in March. And I wanted to make sure that I'm connected and making sure that I'm staying right with God during this time. Because every time that I get closer to my anniversary, I get anxiety, I get stress, I get unwell that I know that with God, his faith and my faith with God has transitioned me to not have a drink in 8 years. But it still gets scary. It still gets to a place where you feel weary. You still get to a place where like, dang, what would it be like if I had a drink? What would it be like if I smoked? What would it be like if I was just outside partying? Well, I can tell you this, I won't have my family and I won't be married anymore because my wife ain't having that. But at the same time, guys, I wanted to make sure that I come in and I holler at y'all. Going through right now is fear. We get fear every time something like this happens. We get fear when we know that God was always in the midst and in control. I was on the wrong way on the highway. I had 66 calls coming. I was on the wrong way in the highway. I had 66 calls coming, and God still spared my life. But I still didn't listen. My third DWI, I had my kids in the car, and I was drinking. And at that time, God had to get my full attention by having me go to jail. I had to go to jail. I had to sit and hear God during that time and during that transition. I wasn't fearful of going to jail. I was fearful of losing my family. I was fearful that God could make this next time, if I don't get myself together, the next time could be deadly. I could not be here to be able to tell you my testimony. My testimony is everything. I have to be able to tell you guys what I went through and what I'm going through right now so you guys can understand that you ain't alone. Everybody has fear. Put down whatever the negative things are that are stopping you from growing so you could be the best version of yourself. I learned throughout that time while I was in jail that certain things was stopping me from growing. People, places, and things. I had to understand that the route that I was going, that even addicted to a substance, that it cost me my freedom, it could have cost me my family, it could have cost everything that I had. And I wanted to make sure I had the opportunity to sit down and holler at y'all because I want to let y'all know I'm fearful of what's coming up. 8 years without a drink, without being drunk, without smoking. And I'm just letting you know that you ain't alone. It's an accomplishment. And I know that sometimes that it gets lonely when you battle an addiction. You have a house full of people and you still feel alone. Hey, how do I operate without being under influence? I was a big time alcohol. I drove around with drinks. I drove around with weed. If anybody knew me from back home, they could tell you that man had always was drunk. Now, look at me now, by the grace of God. And I'm going to keep telling my testimony. I'm going to keep letting you guys know. I had 66 calls. I was on the wrong way to the highway. I had 66 calls and I was on the wrong way to the highway. And God spared my life. He spared my life so I could still tell my testimony. My kids know my testimony. If I'm a father of kids, this thing can still be attacking my kids later on. So I have to make sure I'm interceding and praying over their life. Keep yourself prayed up. Stay faithful to God and make sure that he's in the center of everything that's going on in your life. Make sure he's in the center. So guys, I got 30 days. 30 days to make sure that my anxiety is down, my faith is up, my fear is down, my heart is beeping with God. So I had to holler at you guys. So until the next time, peace from under the influence to being an influencer. Antwan.